Now, contrary to what I used to believe, calisthenics-based leg training is a very effective way for building up functional strength, stability, power, and even muscle growth. In fact, when I made the switch from free weights to calisthenics, it's my lower body that saw the most benefits in the first several months of training. But a lot of progressive calisthenics leg exercises kind of have a dark side to them. Namely that they require a good degree of skill and proficiency to be able to execute properly, let alone with intensity. And it's often that proficiency that holds you back from challenging the muscular work capacity of your quads and the muscles in your thighs for building up your legs. So greetings, my friend. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Matt Schifferly with another video to help you be fit and live free. And it's that skill and proficiency that makes calisthenics progressive leg training so effective for functional strength. But if you're in the game to just build up your legs and make them look better, I highly recommend the following two exercises be included in your program. And I always include these two exercises because they are low skill, high intensity activities for focusing on the quads and the hamstrings. That makes it a lot easier to challenge the work capacity of the muscles to stimulate hypertrophy, and you're not letting things like stability and mobility limit your ability to do that. But even though we're focusing on your thigh muscles, the key to getting the most out of these exercises is actually in your hips, in your glutes. So case in point, we've got our Sissy squats, which are basically one of the greatest leg extension exercises you can engage in. And basically starting knees on the floor, driving your toes straight into the ground, using the quadricep muscles. And I'm just here with a little bit of hand support, again, to manage my stability, so it's not as much of a skill exercise. And you drive straight on up. But you notice that was pretty darn easy. And that's because my hips are back. Also, when people are like, oh, Sissy squats hard on the knees, always due to a lack of activation here. So even though we're creating a lot of emphasis in the quads, it still is a complete leg exercise. You want everything involved. Your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, your hip flexors, everything is on as much as you can. So in order to do that, when we are engaging our hips, we'll push our hips forward and have more of a straight line here. And that also makes the quads work a lot harder, but it places a lot more emphasis in the quads as I drive up. If I let go of my hip tension and my hips come back even an inch, well, that's just real easy and quick. So in order to really maximize the tension and therefore the ability to challenge the work capacity in the quads, really squeeze the heck out of the glutes to a very high degree. Again, getting more of a straight line here. And your quads are going to work a lot harder, but with low skill, making it easier to stimulate growth in the quads. And then to get the other half of the thighs and our hamstrings, we have our coveted hamstring curls on suspension straps. But we want to apply the same principles of glute activation to get the most out of this. Because usually what ends up happening with this exercise is people will lose tension here. So when they pull, they have this angle. And yeah, that works to some degree. It's certainly going to get your hamstrings working a little bit, especially if you're new to the exercise, but it's so much less resistance on the hamstrings. So that's why when you get started with this, you want to keep your shoulder blades together, pack your shoulders down, and tense the mother living hell out of your glutes. So this is a supplemental glute exercise. That way, when I pull in with my hamstrings, I still have this straight line. I'm not breaking at my hip, because when you break at your hip, the muscles have far less resistance, therefore won't have as much tension in the muscle, and it'll be much harder to challenge the capacity of those muscles. So again, we want everything on. Calves, hamstrings, glutes, even a little bit in your quads if you think about it. That way you're getting as much support for the hamstrings as you can, and you're not going to feel it in your lower back either. So if you're struggling to build up your lower body, include the sissy squats and the hamstring curls in your leg training, either as a pre-exhaust before you do your compound movements, or as a finisher, or integrate it in however you see fit. I put a micro workout down below in the description if you want to kind of play around with it, but you really can't lose with it. As long as you've got an exercise that is relatively low skill and proficiency, good amount of resistance, and you're pushing it pretty close to failure, you're going to create that stimulus for hypertrophy pretty much no matter how you do it. And that way you're going to get a lot more successful, a lot easier, and maintain the results as well. Best of luck in your workouts this week. You'll then be fit and live free.